Hello. For a traditional introduction, my name is Sarah Root, and I am the Special Education Divisional Coordinator and a Special Education Teacher at Shawnee Mission North High School in Overland Park. For a more non-traditional introduction, what excites me within special education is problem solving and thinking about students and the fact that they can all learn and each one has a name and a future, and understanding that and working within that to come up with creative solutions to student learning, because each student is an individual and every disability is a little different and manifests in different ways. And so thinking about each student and problem solving within that is what excites me and gets me really excited to go to work every day. So that's who I am. In terms of forms of communication at my school and in my district, the most common way is phone calls. It's done by all stakeholders daily. That's preferred method. We also we are required to log all of our time and our conversations we have with parents in particular, but also other stakeholders as well. Emails is the second way, and I would say actually those two are probably tied. Emails are the quickest way to get a response from teachers, students, administration for just the day-to-day daily issues that come up, or communication. The third way has been newer this year. As we've been doing remote learning, Canvas has been our LMS, learning management system, and so that's been used by teachers, parents, and students to communicate about assignments and various communication, anything that you need to communicate about. Our fourth way, again, this is within the context of remote learning, is through WebEx, which is our online video conferencing tool like a Zoom. And we use that to hold class for parent-teacher conferences, IEP meetings, staff meetings. All meetings are held through WebEx currently. The fifth way is through newsletters. We use SMORE, and that's done at the district level and the school level. So we have whole staff, so like our principal will send it out for the whole staff. We have a community newsletter that's through SMORE that the school pushes out to the community, and also the district communicates with newsletters within departments using SMORE as well. We also use social media, again, done by all stakeholders. These are daily, weekly, special events, whatever it is. It's done at all schools at the district level, sports teams and groups and clubs, and they all use it, and classes even use Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter typically are the top three that they're using. Instagram, I think, taking the lead on the most use. So we use that. Next, we use text messages. I use this a lot as a special education teacher. I'm trying to get into contact with parents. Some are not able to answer their phones, but they will answer texts. Also, I use Google Translate to send it in other languages if need be. And this could be as needed, weekly, daily, however that parent likes to communicate when you need to contact them. So that's another one we use. We also use letters, but pretty rare now, even within the last few years. Typically, as a department, especially in special ed, we send a letter home to parents introducing ourselves, kind of like a beginning of the semester, beginning of the year letter. And that is mailed home as well as sent through email. It helps us know if addresses are correct, if people are getting their mail. IEP notices are sent that way. So that is another form of communication. And the last one is media. So we use, that's done more at the district and school level. They may obviously, like snow days, are communicated with news stations, but other important aspects of the district or the school may be shared through news media outlets, such as currently, like we have a bond, and so that's been pushed out to media, both newspaper and news stations, and also like big achievements of students that deserve public recognition. like perfect ACT scores, SAT scores, or whatever, those are typically also pushed out to the community through media. So here's the resources provided or purchased. Phones are all provided. Traditional phones in our office and classroom. Laptops, we're a one-to-one district for employees, all employees, including paras and staff and students, and also post-high for special ed, all have a laptop. We also provided by the district is the LMS, Canvas, WebEx provided. SMORE is provided for the district and admin. Social media is not provided, but it's free to use, but you have to download it on your own account. Google Voice, again, not provided, but it is free to use. And you would need to connect it to either your cell phone or your laptop. I find that the cell phone is quite effective for communication because it's on an app. It's great. It rings to your phone, but does identify itself as Google Voice. And then for letterhead, that's also provided, and obviously mail is sent out. The postage is provided by the district. Some tool, the tool I wish I had was Zoom. We are not allowed in our district to use Zoom at this time without parental consent. So that's what we've been dealing with recently. However, parents feel more comfortable with Zoom, and Zoom has a lot of wonderful features that we can't use because we're using WebEx. So I wish we could use that. Other than that, I'm in a large district. We're really blessed. We have a lot of resources, so there isn't a lot that I can think of where I'm like, oh, I really wish we had that. However, as I am back in school, I might find some things that I do want. But typically, if there's something we want or need, we're able to put in a request, and so far those requests have been granted. So we're really just feel really fortunate that way. So the importance of introductions in your personal life, for sure in my life, for that first impression and those introductions are continually important and emphasized in my career. I share a story here about a student with Fragile X and how the impact of the syndrome causes the student to determine how they interact with someone based on that first impression. So the first impression is everything. And so some students with Fragile X are very aggressive. And so they will be aggressive with someone who has a bad first impression with them. And so that actually has always been something in the back of my mind because I worked with that student quite a few years ago now. And how I think about how I interact with students that struggle with various disabilities and syndromes. And so just that how important it is to think about, like, I really liked how I do more of a traditional introduction, right, with those facts. But now I'm reworking and thinking about how I can introduce myself more effectively and communicate with stakeholders, maybe in a little bit different introduction. And I think that might help too. Like, you never know when you're going to meet someone with Fragile X or with something along those lines that do impact, like, your first impression is really important. So the methods to introduce myself as a new building leader is to think about some of the things that stuck out to me in the articles were to tell a story, implant what I would like to be known for, and the problems I can solve. Ultimately, problem solving within special education or education is what really excites me. It's that passion and drive that I want to build into my introduction, so that I want to, as Gross said, set a tone, establish trust, signal approachability, and reveal respect among my colleagues and school stakeholders as we build and learn from each other and develop that relationship. Our district as a whole doesn't necessarily have strategic policies for communicating effectively, but our building does. I think that has been put on building principals to make the decision based on the community they serve, because every community is going to be a little bit different in what they need for communicating. I think there are a few mandated communication needs, especially within special education. There's some mandated ways to communicate, and that actually comes more from federal and state government policies and laws. But that those things are passed down and are mandates within the district. But other than that, it's left to our principals. So our correlation to the standard is that the learning objective is identifying various forms of communication and education, establishing a knowledge base of communication, and providing context for introductions. So part of effectively communicating is being able to introduce yourself and make a lasting impression and connection to community stakeholders. So those become important because education is constantly evolving and we're constantly needing to communicate and talk about changes that need to happen to evolve. So the ability to identify various forms of communication through oral, written, and digital means. Obviously, this assignment is also submitted through a digital communication means, which also correlates with the learning objective. Relevancy, it helped me think through how I'm perceived now, how I'd like to be perceived by stakeholders in the school and the community. This is relevant to my learning because those first impressions and introductions will impact my ability to lead effectively. The connection made with the community is really important, and engagement in the school is critically linked. So this has helped me think through and kind of start that process of how to promote community engagement. And for personal reflection, it really brought me back to why I became a special education teacher in the first place, and thinking through how I would present that in a way that would draw people to me, where they would be interested in my story, interested in what I'm doing, and want to join me in helping kids, especially kids that maybe get pushed off to the side, or we maybe don't think about, and how they too can learn and can be successful. And thinking about building wide, just giving me that, I like the impact and the influence of the assignment is giving me permission to share a piece of myself when I'm meeting new people. And also being able to reflect on those pieces that make me who I am and what I want to be known for. I want to be a better leader, a better educator. And part of that is communicating effectively with stakeholders. Ultimately, the school belongs to the community, and that starts with a strong relationship and strong communication. And that is it for me. Thanks.